That's what we want here, and Christ is no fear. You should profess, confess, and watch him bless, yeah. Call me a sinner saved, yeah, Jesus is the way. Today in paradise is what he say. What say? This day, no matter all the days before he say, there will be no pain no more. I accept the gift he gave I don't deserve. God expects I surrender all and serve. A room in the mansion, Jesus prepare for me on the street of gold pavers. I walk with bare feet to a thief for sure about to die in the sin, who stood firm and humbly asked to go with him. Jesus, remember me when you go into your kingdom. Proclaims all Jesus said was true. That's the Father, Son. That right there was his profession of faith. At that place called Golgotha was simply all it takes. No walking out of what it is necessary. That and the possible gift of tongues is scripturally secondary. Dignitary, simply action from his all suffice. Truly I say to you today, you'll be in paradise. Say, that's what we want here, and Christ is no fear. You should profess, confess, and watch him bless, yeah. Only a sinner saved, yes, Jesus is the way. Today in paradise is what he say, what he say. That's what we want here, and Christ is no fear. You should profess, confess, and watch him bless, yeah. Only a sinner saved, yes, Jesus is the way. Today in paradise is what he say. What about the thief friends they chose and mocked him on the cross?
Test 1 2.
And died in his sin, but with Jesus and his new friend, I stand with them. Now I'm a friend of God called and
Today in paradise is what he said. Shout out to Chris the Graybeard. The 28th day of October 2025. It's AC Sports Live once again in the cockpit in the office nook, sports nook. Still trying to recover from last night's baseball game. Was it 18 innings? They had to come right back and play tonight. And I expected this little lag in energy when you had to almost use every single player on the roster to win a game. And I always say that it's so hard to win a football game. It's hard to win a baseball game when both teams are tied up at 5 and all of a sudden everybody wants to pitch their best game of their lives. And the Dodgers bullpen actually played really, really well last night. But tonight, the Blue Jays found a way to get hot right at the right time. They jumped on Shohei Ohtani in the 7th inning with 2 runners on base with no outs. And then a 2-1 game turned into a 5-1 game, which eventually turned into it was a 6-1 game. So the Blue Jays force one more game back in Toronto after tomorrow's game, winning 6-2 in the Ravine. So the Dodgers have to find a way to win tomorrow, because you do not want to go back to Toronto down 3-2. You want to go down there 3-2 and still win. But the championship will not be won here in LA. It will be in Toronto if the Dodgers pull this out. So the World Series is popping. The NBA is back. My Sixers look like a different team. UCLA got humbled this Saturday. And new segment, Cold World. Shout out to P. Ward. It's cold out there, man. Coaches getting fired. Guys getting arrested for gambling. Myles Garrett having the game of his life and still can't see Shador get any playing time. And my sports flicks, Allen Iverson. The Answer. A must watch on Amazon Prime. My wife and I watched it. Troubled youth, but became one of the greatest basketball players ever. All right, let's get the show rolling. I'm AC, it's AC Sports Live, and you guys are the Peopleization. Let's go.
Never put him to the test. He be reigning king forever, resurrected after death. All praise to God, brother. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. All praise to the one.
Yes, sir. Hey, is that Popo? What's up, kid? I've been meaning to get out to the Cerritos game. I know you're not playing, but I heard Ezra's balling, Bobby's balling. Who else is out there balling that I know? It'd be tough to go this week I'll be getting in town that day. If nothing's going on, I told Ezra I would come check him out, but I will be going to Delaware State versus Norfolk State Thursday night. So my wife and I flying out tomorrow. They're going to play in the Link. And you know me as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I'll be watching my son play at the Link. So as most fathers, I'll be a very proud dad that day. And just seeing them run out the tunnel and being on that majestic field is going to be a great experience. I think that might be one of the main reasons why God blessed him with this opportunity, just to play at the Link and see how the big boys, roll, feel that field, and that arena, that atmosphere should be pretty good. Delaware State is in the driver's seat of the MEAC, while Norfolk State and head coach Michael Vick aren't doing so hot. I think they're 1-7, and the Delaware State Hornets are 5-3, with 4 games to go. Delaware State's in the driver's seat with a very potent running attack, and Norfolk State, I think they're still trying to find their identity. So it's going to be very, very tough for them to keep up with the Hornets. And but anything can happen. You got 2 legendary Eagles coaching, head coach Deshaun Jackson versus head coach Michael Vick. That's a big marketing tool. Big Dom from the Eagles made this happen. The Eagles are on a bye week, so it only made sense. Only problem is both teams are playing on 4 days of rest. They'll be playing on Thursday. They just played Saturday. So their whole routine has been turned upside down, and they're practicing at night to get ready for a 7 p.m. game in prime time. So it should be interesting. It should be fun. So if I get back in time, I'll go check out the Cerritos Falcons. We'll see if time permits. But good hearing from you, Pop, and all those who came out of Norwalk High last year. Good times. All right, so the World Series is going on. Again, it's 2-2. The Blue Jays tied it up tonight. They did not want to go out 3-1, losing tonight, and then tomorrow it being a wrap. They wanted to fight. That's who they've been the whole season. George Springer's still not playing. We'll see if he plays tomorrow night. I think he tweaked his back pretty bad. But if he comes back, then that's another bat for the Blue Jays. It was just a hard task being up till midnight playing a 5-hour baseball game. The game was at 5. They finished the game at about 11:45. That's 7 hours. I mean, how long? I fell asleep like the 16th inning. I even got to a point where I'm like, Blue Jays just score. That way the pressure is on the Dodgers to score too. Having it the same score 5-5 for so long, it was just, what am I looking at? I was so tired, man. It was like a long day. Nobody anticipated that game going that long. And then Freddie Freeman been popping the ball up all day. He finally gets a hold of one and puts us all out of our misery. So thank you, Freddie Freeman. Tonight, Vlad Jr. got a hold of one, which got the floodgate started. Shohei, he was doing well, but I know him being on base 9 times last night did not help him pitching tonight, where majority of your pitching comes from your legs. And if your legs are tired, your legs, even though you don't do a ton of running in baseball, and he's a DH, he's not like in the field running a lot. It was going to take his toll. So in the 6th inning, I thought that Dave Roberts in the group would say, let's give Shohei a break, but they let him come out in the 7th inning. And the Blue Jays took advantage of, I think, the fatigue that might have set in. And I think they tried their best. John Smoltz tried to say it was a valiant effort, but they jumped on him first and third base, no outs. That's a lose-lose right there. And they became 5-1, and then it was 6-1, and we got a little thank you run at the end. I thought we was going to go on a little run, but when Kike struck out, I knew that was a wrap. That was the last little hurrah. If Kike can get it going, Mr. October, something could happen with a grand slam. Anything can happen when you're down 6-2. A grand slam ties the game up. You saw that batting order coming up with Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie Freeman coming up. Somebody's going to get a hold of one, but we already had 2 outs. So it's almost too hard to win the baseball game. Tomorrow we roll out the starting pitchers from the last series. Well, the starting pitchers from this game 1. We're going to put out Blake Snell versus the Blue Jays ace. So it's going to be interesting to see if Blake can go back to what he did versus the Brewers and deal and get us to a position like we can't have Yamamoto pitch every night. But if we get to game 5, game 6 will be Yamamoto. And we know he's lights out. So we'll get to it. When we get to it, you must win tomorrow. Tomorrow is must win. Must win. So all the people who did not get hot today must get hot tomorrow. The Sixers come from behind. I had my Julius Erving jersey on today. It was sports day at my school. And they was like, "You're a Sixers fan?" Absolutely. Julius Erving, Dr. J, who my childhood idol. As far as basketball is concerned, it was Dr. J. Always about Dr. J. Sixers win 139-134 in final overtime versus the Wizards. I think we got our guys, man. I think we got our backcourt. Even when Jeremy King comes back. Maxey and Edgecombe. Edgecombe goes for 14, 6, 4, and 5. Maxey goes for 39, 3, and 10. Embiid came back, scored 25, 7, and 5. Kelly Oubre added 17. Quentin Grimes with 23. That's our secret weapon off the bench. So Q Grimes is going to be a key member. But I do believe with the play, the excitement, I'm actually looking into going to the game on Friday while I'm back east. Because I want to see it in person. I just don't want to see it from the nosebleeds. So I'm trying to see if I can work something out. But VJ Edgecombe is worth the price of admission. They saying he's the second coming of Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade mixed together. The kid is yoked up. He's hungry. He's from the Bahamas. He lived on a generator for 7 years. He's the epitome of hungry and not going to go backwards, not going back to living in poverty. So Edgecombe and Maxey might be the best young backcourt in the NBA. I think the Sixers are now, even if Embiid is on a minutes restriction, I'm going to make some noise. There's no Tatum in Boston. And we can run with anybody. Can Nick Nurse coach these guys to a level of respectability that people would be in fear of the Sixers when it comes to a 7-game series? I know it's super early in the season, but you have to start thinking about the way the league is today. It's no longer inside out. It's outside in. So do you have the guard play? So you play against the guard-heavy teams that the ball is being dominated by the point guard and shooting guards. Even your wings are dribbling the ball for longer than 5 seconds. That used to be a cardinal sin in basketball, to hold the ball and dribble the air out of it. Now it's commonplace. You got Jalen Brunson in New York who holds the ball extremely long. All the guys, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, no guys, they go to work on the elbow and they get to their spots. Not a whole lot of assisting going on. So it's a different day. And I think the Sixers got it right. I know Ace Bailey is supposed to be a very exciting prospect. He's in Utah. Good luck with that, young man. But I think we got the dog that we seek. When we lost Jimmy Butler a few years back, that was a dog. And then some of the draft picks didn't pan out, with Ben Simmons being one. And now you have the process, Joel Embiid always being injured. Well, it looks like we don't necessarily need Embiid. We might need to trade Embiid and get some rim runners, some guys who might be very, very dependable. Because that's all we're waiting on is for Embiid to get injured. And then we're trying our best to make sure he stays healthy. And he says this: I might as well just stay at home and be with my family if I'm only going to play this many minutes. I know context kind of clears this up. He was just saying he'd rather play more minutes for his rhythm. When you say those types of things, you're expressing your discomfort and your disappointment and your frustration. But he played tonight. He played, how many minutes did he play? He played 23 minutes. It's his minute restriction. Whereas Maxey, Oubre, and Edgecombe all played 40 minutes. Even Quentin Grimes played 39 minutes. Embiid, you've been hurt the last 3 years, man. I think this is good for you. Work your way back. Make sure that knee, or even both knees, are in good shape. Because if we can get you to play 55 games, we've done something right. So do we want to get rid of Embiid? I don't want to get rid of him. But if he's going to be a problem and he's not going to be healthy, I think while he is healthy, we have to look to see who we can get for him. Can we get a solid big and a draft pick? A couple of draft picks. A former MVP who, if he ever stayed healthy, would be the most dominant player in the NBA. But if you're not available, one of the most underrated attributes of any player in any sport is availability. So, are we trusting the old process, or are we ready for a new process? If you want to sell some tickets, go with the new process. I'm going Edgecombe and Maxey, Jared McCain, Grimes, Oubre, and some fast 6'10". We can go with Bona from UCLA. He blocked a key block tonight. Made some key defensive plays and rebounds. We just need an athletic big. Get it done. Switching gears, my Bruins got humbled, to say it in the nicest possible way, going down to Indiana, playing the number 2 team in the country. We got beat 56-6, a whole 50 burger on the Bruins, and it wasn't even that close. They could have scored 100. So what does it tell me about UCLA's situation right now? Still need to solidify the head coach position. Who's going to come in and solidify that position? I think the new Heisel train has come to an end. He did call 3 great games, but 3 great games means you have 3 games of film. And most Division I defensive coordinators only need 2 games of film to figure out someone's tendencies. But now you got 3. They were on top of UCLA in every facet of the game offensively. Couldn't even score a touchdown. Not one. After scoring 40 on Penn State, you don't score 1 touchdown versus Indiana. That just lets me know that defensive coordinator figured you out. You play him again, you probably score a couple touchdowns because you know you have to adjust to a guy playing chess and you're playing checkers. I know young Neuheisel has some great ideas, and I'm not totally just jumping off his bandwagon, but all the Jerry talk only put more pressure on the young kid, and that's why he wasn't being considered for the OC position. He's still a young kid. He's still learning. 28 years old, you're asking him to go against 50-year-olds who have been around the game twice his years on this earth. So give him a chance to mature. I would love for him to stay, but I don't think him nor interim head coach Timmy Skipper are going to be around once the new head coach is hired. And a lot of the UCLA conversation is about firing the AD, Martin Drummond. And I'm one of the ones who say, why fire somebody unless you have somebody lined up? Otherwise, we're going to be in another situation where we don't even have any direction at the top. Who's going to be the AD? We still have to fight through Casey Wasserman and Troy Aikman hiring the wrong coaches, who guys who they, rub elbows with. That's how we messed around and had Chip Kelly destroy what Jim Mora built. So it's going to be a very crucial next few months for the Bruins. A lot of people want us to keep Timmy Skipper as the head coach, interim for one more year while we try to figure it out. But it's firing season. So I'm going to go straight to cold world as the coaching carousel has begun with LSU firing Brian Kelly. And we all saw that. He's a terrible communicator. He's one who is condescending. He talks down to the kids, and it's not even close. He doesn't belong in LSU. He belongs at Notre Dame, places like that. So him getting fired was not surprising, but them firing him, still owing him $50 million is crazy. And all the coaches that got fired recently, from Brian Kelly, James Franklin, Bill Napier, all these guys are still going to get paid. So don't feel sorry for them. Their agents negotiated awesome deals. They have to look for another job, whether it be in a booth or on the sideline. Brian Kelly still gets $53 million. All he did was win a little bit at Notre Dame, and he got paid like that from LSU. Shame on you, LSU. And now you're going to flip this $53 million bill. James Franklin at Penn State, $49.7 million still owed to him. Billy Napier, $21 million. Mike Gundy, $15 million. Sam Pittman at Arkansas, $9.8. Then you jump down to Deshaun Foster at UCLA, $6.4. Not too shabby, Deshaun Foster. $6.4 million to go home. I'll take that. Brent Pry, $6 million at Virginia Tech. Trent Bray at Oregon State, $4 million. Trent Dilfer at UAB, $2.4, and Jay Norville at Colorado State, $1.5 million. All these jobs are open, so they'll be looking to replace them. I had some predictions. I'm going to do a hot take right now. The Colorado State job will be offered to Deshaun Jackson at Delaware State. You heard it here first. James Franklin, I said this 2 weeks ago. Don't be surprised if UCLA taps him on the shoulder. James Franklin. He can recruit highly educated kids, and that's what UCLA needs, because the academic requirements are a lot higher at UCLA for recruiting. There's actually a coaching carousel graphic that I saw, and I'm going to pull a Sweet Brother Noomsy roll here. I called it. Here's the AI prediction. Artificial intelligence predicts these moves. I got Ant Fletcher. He said, I need to get fired. If you know this is how it is, of course you don't want to get fired from a job. But when you're going to get fired as a college football coach, you're not doing too bad. You're still going to get paid. That's pretty good. Your money's guaranteed. You know, as an NFL player in the NFL, the only money is guaranteed is your signing bonus. Like once you get cut, that's it. That's the only sport that does not have guaranteed money. Now, sometimes they're putting it in certain people's contracts, usually a quarterback, but everybody else, or a defensive end, Myles Garrett. But everybody else, you get cut, money stops on Tuesday when they distribute that last check. It's a cold world, man. The coaching carousel from AI predictions. Brian Kelly will go to Penn State. That's much of the same. Marcus Freeman will flip from Notre Dame to LSU. I could see that. John Gruden to Florida. I don't know. John Gruden is such a jerk. I don't know if anybody wants to play for him. He's fun to watch on his show, but as a coach, he does not vibe with these young kids, as you can see when he coached his last stint. John Sumrall at Arkansas, James Franklin to UCLA, my prediction, and then Alex Golich to Virginia Tech. This is AI. We'll see what happens. This is also a Vegas app. You can see the little logo, MGM Grand logo in the right top corner. I'm borrowing your picture. Nobody's getting paid, so don't try to sue me. This is just a graphic. I'm just using it. But I saw that the UCLA prediction, they took that from your boy. And we'll see what happens. That would be the most UCLA thing that could happen, that we pick up somebody else's leftovers and then try to see if we can make it happen. He won't have the same amount of pressure to win at UCLA that he had at Penn State. But he will be able to get some retribution by playing against Penn State, Ohio State, and all those teams that he used to face. So I could see it happening. It just depends on who our AD is and who the brain trust of James Washington and a couple other guys who are on the new committee to hire the next coach, who they bring in. My vote is still Tony White, DC at Florida State. He has all the charisma. He has the rapport with young people as far as recruiting is concerned. He can recruit Los Angeles. He's a Bruin. He's an NFL player. He has all those boxes checked. Somebody said we're going to try to get Deion Sanders to coach at UCLA. Does that make any sense? UCLA would not let Deion be Deion, and Deion is not going anywhere he can't be himself. Somebody was mad. There was some type of group, conservative group, or was it a liberal group? It doesn't even matter. They were upset that Coach Prime prays with his team and brings in a pastor to pray with the boys and give them a Bible study. And I'm like, the things that y'all so worried about, consumed about. He's trying to help these. It was the same conversation when Aaron Glenn had Bible study for the kids or for the team at the New York Jets. It's optional. But who does not want to be built up? Who does not want to be given some positive affirmations? And why are y'all so mad that Deion would bring a spiritual advisor in to help these young men? He's trying to make young men. And what has made his boys, what has made him successful is his faith in God. So as the head coach, you do what you know how to do. Why does that bother people so much? That always baffled me. Why is my positive, stress-free secret weapon, which is my faith, bother you? That's a spirit. And I don't think they're going to get Deion to stop, because I'm sure he's like, y'all need to go do something with your life, because what we're doing is not even taking up that much time. Crazy, man. Fletch said Tony has earned the chance. So who becomes head coach? It's usually a coordinator who's successful. Have you seen Florida State's defense? They play pretty good. The kids fly around. Now, the team itself is always mediocre because you got that head coach who's on his way out too. So he might mess around and be the Florida State head coach. Or Deion Sanders takes the Florida State job. That's his alma mater, because Colorado looks like they might have ran their best race with Shador and Travis Hunter and Joe Horn and those guys. Jimmy Horn, I'm sorry. Sweet brother Noomsy's in the house. I see a lot of movement, man. Like I said, there's going to be some people moving around. And it's going to happen pretty fast because we're getting to the end of the school year, end of the season. And many of these schools are going to start calling and knocking on doors right before the bowl games. You're going to see some head coaches leave their team before the bowl game. And all that loyalty stuff is going to go right out the window. It's a look out for yourself time in sports. You're not worried about legacy. You're not worried about loyalty. You're worried about best opportunity. So if Colorado State calls Deshaun Jackson, understand me, he's going to take that call. Will he accept the offer? Who knows? But if he's not getting what he needs at Delaware State, you have to consider the possibilities. On the other hand, you have Michael Vick at Norfolk State. He's not having very much success. He may not get the same offer because it's not working out. And word on the street is that he's never at practice. So there's a lot going on. But in order to be in position to get one of these $15-20 million jobs, you have to build up these programs and show that you can pack the stands. And that's what Deshaun Jackson is doing in Delaware. Now, James Franklin at Penn State's engine runs on its own. Like they don't have a coach right now, but it's going to be packed. They play Ohio State this Saturday. It's going to be packed. Ohio State has an engine that withstood the Sandusky scandal and the Joe Paterno leadership under Joe Paterno. Sandusky was able to do what he did to those kids. It should have been the end of a program. But you fast forward a few years, less than 10 years later, Penn State's back in the mix, sold out stadium. Kids can't wait to get to Penn State. I would love for my son to go to Penn State. Penn State is elite, even after all the scandal. It's a pretty pressure-packed job. And I could see Brian Kelly going back up there because he did well at Notre Dame. Penn State's a lot like Notre Dame. Elite, conservative, and able to recruit with an endless bag. All that stuff's interesting to me. How it pans out, even more interesting to me. We'll see. But UCLA getting beat by 50 is back to life, back to reality. We have a good team. However, we still have some holes. We don't have the best defensive line. We didn't get any pressure on the Indiana quarterback, Mendoza. He had a field day. Even his brother had a field day when he got in the game. And they just kept scoring. Again, they could have scored 100 if they wanted to. Signetti is doing a great job in Indiana. The team is number 2 in the country. They might be number 1. They're that good. They recruited tough, hard-nosed kids. And the coach is not letting up. They're going to be very hard to beat on any given Saturday. So shout out to the Indiana Hoosiers and to my Bruins for going down there and taking it on the chin and still having a few games to go. We can still make some noise. The team is still in a much better position it was than 4 weeks ago. So we haven't lost all hope, but the attention should be on who's going to be the next head coach. Because the sooner you get your head coach in, the more you can start getting on this recruiting trail and get the kids in. It's just good that Coach Skipper didn't lose any recruits. He didn't lose any of the kids that are currently on the team to the portal. So that says a lot. That says a lot. Cold World. Once again, the NBA gambling scandal. So I was reading up on it. I was like, well, what really was going down? So you have Billups, Rozier, and Jones involved in some gambling. Talks of a X-ray table. They can see cards and predict people's hands, and they, working with the mafia and all kind of craziness. And then you do some more history. They're giving out information about who's playing, who's not playing that night for the bettors. They're checking themselves out of the game to make sure they hit their under. And this is where more of what Rozier is involved in. Chauncey Billups is more involved in a fixed poker game. And everyone of our pigmentation is like, well, why aren't the other guys being shown as the culprits? Why is it just Billups, Rozier, and Jones, and the brothers are out front being accused of all this crime? And it's like, well, this is America. That's very American to do with the media, to show these prominent NBA player or NBA celebrities as the faces of this crime ring of illegal gambling situations. Now, the game of poker is not illegal, but how they were beating people out of their money was illegal. And then giving out information about who's playing that night is illegal, because that gives tips, that gives bettors an advantage. My whole thing is this, brothers. If you don't do dirt, you won't get dirt. If you know the risk is so high and you get involved one time, and this is for all my young athletes too, as much as you might say there's no harm in it, I'm just going to make sure I hit the under, or I make sure the numbers hit for Vegas. Once you do it one time, there's no going back, because now those who are the bookies, you're in their pocket, they're in your pocket, and there's no way you can say I went out, because they can go to the press and say you did this. And then once that comes out, your integrity is shot and you can no longer play. So we have to remember, just last year, Shohei Ohtani was involved in a gambling scandal. And they want us to believe that his interpreter stole $18 million from him to pay off a debt. And he is now serving a sentence in prison, I think a 5-year sentence or something like that. And Shohei went about his way, continuing his path of being the best baseball player in the world. So his gambling scandal was totally wiped under the carpet, blamed on his interpreter. When it was happening, we all began to believe that Shohei is no different than Michael Jordan or Charles Barkley. These ultra paid, ultra competitive guys get into these little gambling situations, and then they have to do the unthinkable. If Shohei lost $18 million in a gambling situation, so be it, as long as it's not on baseball. But whatever it was, it sure went away. In this situation, in the climate of America, with files being missing that we all want to see, that will implicate the leadership of this country being foul, we'll never see those files. And as close as we get to seeing them, these different distractions just continue to pop up. A $7 million gambling ring? Who cares? Distraction. But brothers, keep your nose clean. Don't engage in these crime syndicates and these opportunities to get money, like the guys who got caught with the medical fraud. You got to know better, man. Parents trying to get their kids into certain schools with a fake address, and you're costing your kids 2 years of eligibility. Parents paying some recruiting service to get their kid into a college, and they're giving kids scholarships from sports that they don't play. And those parents are going to jail for fraud and things like that. In the history of crime, nobody has gotten away. Everybody gets caught. So don't do it. And I know we're all susceptible to a come up. Sometimes it sounds too good to be true, because it is. It's not worth it. I'm thankful today that when we were trying to pick a high school for my son, and we got desperate, and a booster said, well, use this address and you'll get into school. And you don't think anything of it. It seemed harmless just to get accepted, and you change your address back. Thankfully, we were denied. Because had we been allowed in and anybody blows a whistle, it would have been bad. Because then when we did pick a high school and he did decide to play football, his first football game, the opposing coach said this kid did not sit out. He's ineligible. And we were like, how is this coach going to be hating on a kid who just started playing the game 2 weeks ago? You can't sit out from a sport you never played. And he didn't know that part. But just imagine had we gone to the big school and somebody blew a whistle and they did an investigation and we had an illegal address, he would have missed high school, because you get 2 years banned from playing CIF sports if you've been caught with a illegal address. So I'm thankful that none of that even worked out. We went the route that we went, and it was meant to be. But I said all that to say, we all get a little bit desperate in the moment. But when you know what you're doing is flat out illegal, when you're talking about big money, that never ends well, man. So stay clear. Chauncey Billups, you're the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. You got to know better than that. They're going to come after you, man, if anything goes down. Cold World, Myles Garrett had 5 sacks. But this video shows he said he would give it up for a win.
Out there getting 5 sacks and putting the team on your back and just to not have any offense to go with it.
It doesn't get any easier. Each week you ask me, so.
How do you feel about your performance? Does the loss diminish how you feel about your performance today at all, I guess?
I would throw the whole performance away for a win.
How hard is it? How tough is it?
I would throw the whole performance away for a win. Throw the whole performance away for a win. And you sitting there looking at the quarterback who's 5'0" 100 and you got Shedeur Sanders on the bench. If I'm Myles Garrett, I'm going to pull a Rudy and throw my jersey on the coach's table and say, if you don't put Shedeur in, I'm not playing. Because this young guy you got in there now is not it. And you know it. This is what Stefanski said about playing Shedeur.
You, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play.
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
Kevin Stefanski has no plans of playing Shedeur Sanders until it's too late. He wants to play him the last few games of the season, putting more on the idea that he's not better than Dillon Gabriel, which to me, just go back and watch the tape, man. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that Shedeur Sanders is a pro quarterback and Dillon Gabriel is going to be a lifetime backup. And they're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Meanwhile, Myles Garrett is getting 5 sacks and you guys still lose because you have a little kid playing quarterback. Dillon Gabriel is probably the most winningest quarterback in college football history. But he also went to Oklahoma and Oregon. Meanwhile, Shedeur was leading the nation in passing with the worst offensive line in the Big 12. He made something out of nothing, and that one game they allowed him to play in the preseason showed you he can make the throws. All the reporter asked Kevin Stefanski was, are you going to at least give him a chance to see if he can give you a little burst of energy to give the offense some pep, to give you a little different look? He's like, that's not what I'm doing right now. So Stefanski, all these dudes have just exposed themselves as terrible coaches, man. Terrible coaches who have so much ego that they can't even say I was wrong and I had the wrong quarterback. I want to show you I'm right by keeping my guy in there. Cold World, Tom Izzo said the NCAA should be ashamed of themselves. They had to play against Louisville and they had former G League players on their college roster. It's ridiculous and it's embarrassing. Kids have been in college for 7 years. Kids are coming from the pros back to college. So your amateurism status is over once you start getting paid to play in the pros. But now with NIL, the playing field has been leveled and everybody's pro. Technically. But a guy who's been playing in the G League who has not played college ball is now eligible to go back to college. And college players are making more money than the G League players. So we'll see a lot more of this, Tom Izzo. It's unfortunate, but you're right. It is a shame. I'm just finding out now. My son is playing college football, and some of his teammates are 25 years old. Is there going to be a limit on how old you can be in college? I just found out you could be 22 in the public school system, whether that be a high school or an adult school situation. It's crazy, man. These kids aren't kids. These are grown men. Grown men. Shout out to Amarion Smith of Michigan State. His mom passed away last week, and since he's of age, he's 21, he's been given guardianship over his siblings. So now he has football, school, and he has to raise his brother and sister. Hopefully he has enough NIL money to take care of childcare and everything else. But in today's climate, it's probably best that he raise his siblings and not them going into the system. I hope there's some family that can help. But salute to this young man taking the responsibility, taking care of his siblings, keeping them in the family. The group home situation is not it. The foster system is not it. These kids need to be around family so they can have an opportunity to be successful. Let's see. I saw the Allen Iverson documentary on Amazon Prime. Very good. Makes me mad all over again that he had to go through what he went through. My wife was sitting there with me. She said, I'm mad that they keep doing this to our kids. They keep trying to make it so that we're so, volatile and that it's always our fault. And that's the America we live in. They try to destroy this man. They try to make sure he never played basketball again. And the video footage showed that he was not the one doing all this destruction in that bowling alley when he was 17 years old. And they did not try him until he turned 18 so he would get the full maximum time. But thankfully, he still got his life together. Thankfully, mom went to John Thompson and humbled herself and said, I need you to save my son's life. And John Thompson, the late, great John Thompson, took him under his wing. And he became the first Georgetown Hoya to leave school early and go to the NBA and be the first pick overall. And had a successful NBA career. And he was mired by a bunch of alcohol and partying and being AI. His friend gets killed. Perspective is brought to him. And then he goes through the practice saga. The out of context that he doesn't like to practice was not what that press conference was about, but a lot of ignorant people ran with that. And today, to this day, it's still it's almost a joke. It's a meme. You're talking about practice, and that's more of a stab at you're not keeping the main topic. You want to talk about things that are not important. You want to try to raise up a agenda about who I am when you're not asking the right questions. We just lost the playoffs. I just lost my best friend. And you want to ask me if not going to practice is the reason why we lost the game. And I felt AI on that one. The rest of the documentary was hilarious because he has his uncles in it, and uncles are always hilarious to me. His mom has always been an entertaining conversation. My thing was, through all his escapades, we know Allen Iverson to be a notorious ladies' man, rock star status. That has been left out. Similar to The Last Dance. They're leaving that part out. And it made it seem like he was this good, clean, wholesome husband. And his poor wife has to go through this life of, everybody knowing but her. I'm sure she knows. But that part of his life was left out. Probably rightfully so. It's unnecessary, but they do leave out what they need to leave out. Similar to The Last Dance of Michael Jordan. So it's good. It's a good watch. Amazon Prime, Allen Iverson. Check it out. Zooming through today. Getting through it. I'm dead tired too. Gotta get ready to pack to head back east to see the kid play at the link. Haven't done it in a while. Shout out to Donnell Whitberg.
He's holding on.
First American to win the rings, the steel rings. So Donnell Wittenberg
Amazing.
has raised the standard of men's gymnastics when it comes to the rings. Just watch this, man. He said he made history winning the steel rings. And you wonder how they're able to do this. These dudes are strong, man. All they lift is their body weight. All day long. When he raises up, man, that takes so much strength. So much balance. Incredible, man. And then you got to do a dismount. Boom. Don't get much better than that, man. I'm not even a big gymnastics person, but I respect it. That was crazy, man. That dude is special. Shout out to Donnell Wittenberg, man. All right, Unk season. All of a sudden, I want to listen to The Time at the HBCU. Whose uncle is this? And what did he think he was going to accomplish at the homecoming? I'm going to hurt him with this Morris Day, though. They're not ready. And he got his son with him. He got his butt pad for the stands, bleachers. His hair is permed out. His collar is out. And it's not Halloween, so it's not a costume. This is just how he got down. He got his hair lined up, his hair perfectly bumped and flat ironed. And the glasses and everything. He must have been watching Purple Rain or something, man. And then playing Jungle Love in the background had me cracking up, man. It is Unk season, man. As always, Unk season. I think that's it for me today. I got to get ready to go pack and get ready to hop on the plane. But I'm just going to keep the energy going every week. Tuesday, 9 p.m. here on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. I appreciate the peopleization for hanging out. This is AC of AC Sports Live. I am signing out. Dodgers have a must-win game tomorrow night. We're going to be there watching from wherever TV we're in front of. We're going to need Blake Snell to deal late into the 8th inning, if not a complete game. And we'll be going back to Toronto to get that championship. And the Sixers at 4-0. I'm feeling good. The Bruins have to show and prove that they belong in the Big Ten. And I think we will. All right, y'all. I'm out. Y'all be good. Till next time. Peace.